Hey guys, what's going on? Back again with another zombies video. As some of you guys know, next month in October, as you see on the screen, CoD Mobile is going to be getting round-based survival zombies maps and a mode coming to the game. In the trailer, which I'm not going to show, but in the trailer you see, or they show us Shinonuma, and they show us Transit, the farm location, and it's something that they had in the game, or they had like a beta or an alpha for it. They just never put it in the game. I think because, like I said, people don't believe it, and I used to get upset. But a lot of people are oblivious and kind of unaware, maybe even naive, to the fact that a lot of the big channels, maybe because the games or the story became too difficult for them, they just kind of crap all over the games that we've had since Black Ops 4. And Call of Duty probably saw that, especially going back with Black Ops 4, because that's around the time I think that they cancel it, maybe a little bit after that. And even in Cold War with Outbreak, where the big channels didn't like Outbreak, um, Call of Duty, I guess, sees that stuff. Maybe it doesn't. And I know a lot of the subs and the players are influenced by what the big channels tell them. So Call of Duty is always going back and forth, or Activision's always going back and forth, kind of decide, is it popular right now? Is it less popular? What do they have to change? Do they have to make it easier? Is round based easier for the casuals and the YouTubers? Whereas the hardcore players, they can pretty much play anything. It's not too bad for them, especially the undead mode, I think it was called, in COD Mobile they had. So it looks like they're trying to dip their toes back into zombies and COD Mobile again. They're reintroducing Shinonuma and Transit. So because of that, I wanted to kind of commemorate Transit coming back. They're going to give it another shot. Of course, if it's too difficult, the big channels are just going to complain about it, hate on it, saying it's the worst map ever, and they never should have brought back zombies. So they're going to have to kind of fiddle with it, find the right recipe, something easy enough for the content creators, the YouTubers, and also the casuals, and then something maybe difficult, have a different mode, or a harder mode, and you get better rewards, kind of like what they did with the undead mode. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember, but I'm just going to call it the undead mode that had a premise in it. So that was the other thing too during Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4. The story was so complicated. The world had never heard about a multiverse back then. Now it's pretty popular. People understand the multiverse now, how there's different versions of yourself, and a sideways reality or alternate reality of what goes on in the real world. So it's a little bit more easier for people to understand it now as compared to back then. Multiverse just blew everybody's mind. It was too difficult. People didn't want to do the research. If you go back and watch a lot of the videos, everybody wished for Jason Blundell to be fired. Everybody wished for zombies to be, canceled. Zombies suck. All that toxic behavior that went on during Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and Cold War, and especially in Vanguard. So it's gonna be risky for COD Mobile and Activision Call of Duty to try zombies again. Hopefully, like I said, they fiddle with the recipe and are going to get it right. Like, again, something easier for the big channels. But, again, the purpose of that isn't to kind of, spend too much time talking about that. It's just to give you some reference or backstory. But what I want to do is kind of talk about the real life location of Transit. A lot of us know, or some of us know, that some of the maps are kind of in Black Ops 2 were supposed to be the Earth got blown up by the nukes, and it kind of jumbled everything together, kind of like the inversion rockets, I guess, in Cold War, where that was supposed to kind of, I think that even got changed, but that was supposed to kind of have stuff almost meshed together also. But that's kind of what happened in Black Ops 2, where something about the tectonic plates shifted, stuff got teleported from one place to the other, and stuff got mixed up on Earth. Not only did Earth get blown up and destroyed, but stuff ended up in places they weren't belonging, like Nocturne and Toten in Transit, and stuff like that. Even some of the transit bus locations you'll see don't really belong where they were in Washington State, because that's where most of the transit takes place. So going forward, again, it's going to come next October, the new survival transit modes. They did stuff like this last year and the year before. Specifically with Scarlet, they had where you can get a free Scarlet Halloween skin. I believe this was during Halloween time. You did a couple challenges and you could unlock the skin for free. There were some multiplayer modes. I don't know if Zombies was really popular back then, but they did a lot of Halloween themed stuff in CoD Mobile multiplayer and Battle Royale Blackout. I think you would go around the map and look for stuff, and then you would do challenges and you would unlock a skin. So this is coming during Halloween time next month, it looks like, which is smart. People are going to be in that Halloween zombies mentality. Like I said, this isn't necessarily going to cover the stuff that people already know. Again, I talked to some people in the zombies community that it's unfortunate that people that were there in Black Ops 2 are no longer in the zombies community. Even some of the YouTubers no longer even upload. Their channels are pretty much dead. Some of them only make content, whenever something huge happens. A lot of the big channels are dead, YouTube channels, and then people from the zombies community, they just moved on. I guess, like I mentioned, some of them got like maybe real jobs. Some people maybe went on to other video games. Maybe people even got jobs at Treyarch or Call of Duty. So I'm not going to necessarily talk about the stuff that we've known for the last 10 years. Like, this is from South Carolina, what the bus depot was modeled after. So this is the stuff I wanted to kind of point out, but I'm not going to go over it. But you'll see how in transit stuff got teleported where they don't belong. This is in South Carolina. The Hanford bus is from Hanford Site in Washington. So that kind of stayed where it belonged, but just want to kind of reference that. And then and this is the transit bus. But what you're gonna have to be familiar with is, and this is kind of where this is going, and this is kind of the solve. The license plate says Colorado, and it says XP-79. XP-79 was a test rocket that crashed. I don't even know if it knows where it crashed. I think that's kind of top secret where it crashed. I think it just is known that it crashed somewhere. Maybe it crashed on a military airstrip. I think it like lifted off and then eventually just crashed. Maybe that's even Mob of the Dead stuff that we were maybe supposed to get in transit, because as you know, the plane lifts off from Mob of the Dead and then it crashes down again. You can kind of see how some of the ideas got scrapped, maybe used in Mob of the Dead. Even the gas cans were something they were supposed to do for the bus in transit that ended up getting used for the plane. So again, people know this already, but I'm just going to mention it really quickly. Console constraints, time constraints, and manpower, same thing we're struggling now, forced Treyarch and Call of Duty to cut pretty much like 80% of the content we were supposed to get from transit. If you know what I know, and maybe if you do your research, you'll figure out that a lot of stuff got scrapped. That's why transit is so bare. Console constraints is the easiest thing to blame, but in reality, it's manpower, it's budgets, it's politics, it's stuff like that that went on during Black Ops 2, which I'm not going to touch into. Again, in Washington State, this is the transit map. We were supposed to get a transit bus route B. That got scrapped. We were probably supposed to get other locations, probably even bus route. If you see how long the bus routes are, you really think about it, you have space for maybe C, D, E, and F. There were supposed to probably be other locations we were supposed to travel to. They probably just started with bus route A and B and said, that's the bare minimum we can afford to do right now, or time-wise afford to do. But as you guys know, again, this is only going to focus, I'm using my mouse real quick, this is only going to focus on the actual transit map itself, not necessarily Washington State. But if you look at the way that the transit route is shaped, and I'm going to have to give a lot of context for this. In Colorado, if you go by the license plate from the bus, it says Colorado. In Colorado, there's actually a town called Arlington, Colorado, which if you think about it, looks almost exactly like transit. Again, this is Arlington, Colorado, and this is our transit. You think about it now, how much stuff probably got scrapped. It was probably supposed to be a lot bigger, a bigger route with different locations, but they probably said, hey, let's scrap everything and just make, the locations that we know of. If you go back to the original Arlington, Colorado, like I said, this is pretty much what it looks like. Some of it got changed and scrapped, and then they just cut a lot of this, because look at all the space up top that eventually looks like it got cut from Arlington, Colorado. And I did talk about Arlington and Origins, how Arlington National Cemetery is what they use to model the Origins map. Some people know that. If not, I'll have to link it so you guys can check it out. But Arlington, Colorado was probably going to be the original location. Maybe they moved it to Washington State again, or maybe the rockets hit and it jumbled everything together. But if you look at the transit locations, a lot of it must have gotten scrapped. Again, that's no secret. I mean, I don't know where Nocturne-on-Toten is, but I think the prototype is Nocturne-on-Toten here. So that's where Nocturne-on-Toten is. Again, it was probably going to be what Blackout. There's a lot of breadcrumbs that lead to Blackout being what Transit was supposed to be, the new Transit location. Again, Battle Royale was huge. They took all the assets and used it for Battle Royale and scrapped the whole Transit thing, which is understandable. I agree with it, because again, big channels just crap all over everything, including new channels, because the unfortunate truth is, and it's a bitter pill to swallow, is the fact that there's way too many content creators now that aren't good at anything, and instead of getting good at the game, they just crap all over it and blame it on the game. Like, if you go and think about Black Ops 2 now, you think about even Black Ops 4, it's just that people don't want to put the time and effort into getting better, so they just crap all over everything. So, same thing happened with Black Ops 4 with the Chaos story and the Ether story. The story was too difficult, the maps were too difficult for the YouTubers and the casuals. But if you think about it, Transit was supposed to be like Black Ops 2, so it's probably the same thing that happened. We were supposed to have probably a bigger map because of console constraints and stuff like that. Because if you look at the original Arlington, Colorado, it's a lot bigger than the Transit that we got. They probably trimmed it down as much as they can and said, hey, it somewhat still resembles Arlington, Colorado, so let's just keep it at that. We're going to trim a lot of it. And I think Jason Blundell said that, maybe even Jimmy Zelensky said that, and maybe some of the other devs said it, that like they trimmed a lot of stuff from Transit. Transit was supposed to be very ambitious. It was supposed to be a full-scale campaign. You're supposed to go to different locations and find stuff, then teleport to bus route B, probably C, D, E, and F. So that's kind of where the whole Transit map came from, and that all fits in because, like I said, in Arlington National Cemetery is what Origins is based off of. If you see the swirls, I already talked about this. A lot of people know this already. But Arlington is what Origins is based off of. If you go to theater mode in Origins, you'll see how it looks like Arlington National Cemetery. This is the layout for Arlington National Cemetery. Kind of resembles Origins at that, where you would have like different locations. And if you think about it, if you think about the original way that Transit was modeled after, which I don't have that here, but there's a chalkboard inside of Treyarch that shows the original Transit ideas that they were going to have with the gas, a Tesla gun and all that stuff too, which I didn't include it, but you can look that up yourself. Again, this is Arlington National Cemetery, and Arlington was supposed to be a hint that Mob is Dead and Al Arlington was going to be part of the story. But it's a little bit sad and depressing. I know some people don't want to know this, or maybe wish that they never knew this, because then it's going to be even more depressing, or maybe put even more hate on Treyarch for canceling some of the stuff that we should have gotten, because it just happened to be a weird coincidence that Arlington, Colorado looks exactly like Transit, and Arlington National Cemetery was used for Origins, and then Arlington The bus has a license plate that says Arlington on it. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll see you guys later.